Hello, my friends. AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink. Welcome back to my face, my card making space, and cards using the newest Waffle Flower Postage Collage items. If you are not familiar, I will have a link to my playlist using a lot of these products in the end screen at the end of the video, because the first Postage Collage die set and stencils came out like a year ago. A little over a year ago, something like that. And then in that time, there have been many stencil set add-ons, little stamp set add-ons. And then a couple months ago, Waffle Flower released a whole bunch of other sizes because the original set was like the original die set right here. This is what I'm talking about. This was the OG die set. And then Waffle Flower has released other die sets like A7 size, A6 size, slimline, mini slimline. Yeah. I will have links. I will have a link to just the like what all is available right now. And then also, if you check out my blog post, which I will link directly below like I always do, direct link, it'll take you to the blog post for these cards. But in that post, I'll also post a graphic that Waffle Flower released recently. And it includes in the graphic like what's been released and then what's coming. You don't get to see like exactly, like it's kind of blurred out, but it gives you an idea. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited because I was just like, I saw florals and things and I was like, yes, so excited. So anyway, I love them. They're just fun. And I don't even go to out of the box with the cards I've made so far. I kind of just stick to it as it is, but you can have so much fun with these. So anywho, I had lots of requests about the new Lucky Postage Collage Lucky Stencil Trio, and there's the Coordinating Postage Collage Lucky stamp set. As of filming this intro, the Stencil Trio is currently sold out. It'll come back in stock. It's just things have been popular. That's why I was holding off posting a video, but the requests plus I was just like, it's so cute. So made a card, combined it with a couple of the older things, and a couple of the newish. There's a die set and a sentiment set from a different release, etc. And yeah, snuck some splatter into there, of course, as one does. So if you keep watching, I'll show you guys how I made the cards. Like everything else, there will be links to everything I used listed and linked in the description box below. They're affiliate links. All that means is if you click on any of my links and place an order, I get a little kickback at no extra cost to you guys, and that's what helps fund my channel, keeps the heaters running, all the things so I don't freeze in my garage. And yeah, that's all I got to say for the moment. Keep watching. I'll show you guys how I made the cards. So I die cut some smooth white cardstock from Simon Says Stamp with the Postage Collage die. And I just stuck them to one of my Waffle Flower grip mats. The one I have been using for the last, again, year or however long. This is the 8.5 inch square one. It is currently discontinued. Waffle Flower is having to switch manufacturers. There will be updates down the road with these. So I no longer have a link for this grip mat because it's no longer available. However, the one that fits the Misty size works just as great. It's the same product, same material, and you could use that in the exact same way. I'm just using mine because I have it. It's convenient. And then I can do two at once. So that's what I'm doing. And I started with the first stencil. They're all labeled, all the things. There's layer 1, 2, and 3. And this time I'm using just my little baby Waffle Flower blending brushes. The 0 Plus, which is the teeny tiny one, which I'll get to in a second, and the 1 Plus. And then I'm using the little tiny brushes because you'll see I get selective about what sections I'm coloring. And then this way I got way more colors because I went rainbow. And for the rainbow colors, I'm using all Rainbow Splash inks. These inks are from Simon Says Stamp. It's a line they started last year, last fall, of inks, their stamps, etc. And they're kind of meant more for beginners. However, the inks are the same as the Positively Saturated inks. I've had a lot of people asking me about that. They are the same. I assume the same formula. The ink pads are the same, etc. They work in the same way. And I just kind of use them interchangeably with the Simon inks just for more colors. But I decided, I was like, ooh, all the colors I picked, I was inspired by the little embellishments I'm going to use at the end, because that happens a lot. So when I was going through my inks, I'm like, wait a minute, all these rainbow splash inks are perfect, because yeah, rainbow colors, simple, but also the colors specifically went with my little embellishments. So I used the little tiny brushes because I was doing selective inking, as I'm showing here. And just having the tinier brushes just meant I could go right in, especially those little tiny 0+ brushes, because those ones are itty bitty. I could literally do like one little tiny thing at a time, like the little starbursts on a couple of the sections, and then things like the little rainbow stripes. I could just go in and do each color individually. I don't have to fiddle with any sort of masking, that sort of thing. I don't mind doing masking, but when it's something like this where I'm literally doing like 8 colors on one little tiny section, I'm not going to mask. I don't have patience for that. But little tiny brushes for the win. So I've sped this up in editing, and I also didn't time myself. This didn't take that long. I think it took me really, and especially like looking back, it's like it took me longer to just kind of sit and think about like, where do I want to do this and that? And then once I was like, okay, I'm doing rainbow, I'm just going to go in like rainbow order with some of these things. Like we're just going to do it. So I just kept working my way around, going back and forth here and there between the stencils and each of these backgrounds, since I was doing 2. And I had fun. Like it's another one of those things that as it all starts coming together, it's like, oh, yep. It's just fun, you know? So I will have links. I'll list specifically the colors. There's not a ton with like the rainbow splash line, but I will specifically list the colors I used. And yeah. What else can I say? If you really wanted to, and I've done this, I did this in one of the other videos. I thought about using like embossing paste and things with this as well, especially for like the gold, the gold in the pot of gold and that little like lucky horseshoe, etc. That could be really fun. However, I didn't have the patience to let it to do that, and then you need to let it dry before you can like do other things. So I didn't, but that could be really fun too. But instead, I was like, since I didn't use gold paste, I'll just add gold splatter, because of course. So I get to the final stencil here, and this one is the one that adds the detail bits. It adds the final couple pieces of the actual little rainbow, and then like detail to that large 4-leaf clover, detail to the little gold pieces in the pot of gold. That one I just used the same color. That was the rainbow splash gravel. I used gravel for the base and then layered just more of it for the little detail bits. And then yeah, once you pull that final stencil off, it was like, oh, perfection. Love it. So then I went in with my white gel pen and just added little highlights, little dots and highlights here and there. Little detail to the little floral, and yeah, it just gives it that little extra something. So I used my white gel pen, my Jelly Roll 10 or Sakura Classic White Bold Line 10 Jelly Roll. That's like the official name of it, just the Jelly Roll 10. So use that to add little highlights and detail here and there to the to all the different little images. And then once that was done, I then took the postage stamp set. There's the original one, which is the Postage Collage clear stamps. And then there's the newer one, which is the Postage Collage Lucky. So I used both because I used a couple of the images from the Lucky set. And then I used like the cancellation images and some of the denomination images, etc., to like add it. And this is where it starts getting fun, because it's like this needs to be messy. It doesn't need to be stamped perfectly. There's supposed to be cancellation marks, etc. So it's like I just stick them on an acrylic block and I just start stamping. And I was using just Simon's Intense black ink for this. And yeah, just adding it kind of randomly. And yeah. This is, I don't know what it is about this, but it's like I'm making my own postage stamps, It's just, there's something about it that's so fun. So went around and stamped all the different little bits and pieces here. And then once I was happy with how everything was looking, I'm going to take these off the grip mat. I just clean the grip mat, same as I clean my stamps, a little bit of stamp cleaner. It is going to stain. Good quality photopolymer does stain. But cleaned up my mat, set it aside, and then I'm going to add splatter. So for the first little bit, I got my Gonzai Tombi Starry Colors, added a bit of water to that one pan, swirl it up really, really well with my fan brush, and then just adding just a light splatter. You know, I'm not going for the big blobs like I usually am. So just a bit of gold splatter, you know, here and there. So got my backgrounds in my little splat box, tapped on a bit of that gold splatter. Once I was happy with that, I'm then going to add black splatter. Again, just a light amount, not a ton. So for black splatter, my absolute go-to is always Black Soot Distress Paint. So the only thing you need to remember with Black Soot Distress Paint is, one, it is super pigmented and it dries permanent. So you want to make sure to immediately clean off your brush when you're done, wipe off your palette, etc. So I shook it up really well, put it on my palette, fan brush, splattered that onto these backgrounds, and then cleaned up all of the things. So once I've got my splatter done, gonna let that dry, I'm going to work on my little backgrounds. And for that, I'm using, there's Rainbow Splash cardstock. This is the grass color. This cardstock is 80 pound. So I will not use cardstock like this for card bases. It's too lightweight. However, I will use cardstock like this for layers, for die cutting, etc. So I took the green and I cut just a couple A2 size panels, and I'm die cutting them with the Waffle Flower Sparkles panel die. I really like this wafer die. I like it a lot. So I had taped it into place with just some Tonic Craft Perfect die tape, just to hold, you know, the cardstock in place, and then run that through my die cut machine, and I get this fun little background. You're not really going to see much of it in the end because most of it gets covered up, but it's so cute. I don't know. I love all these, and you could back it. Like, if you could actually see more of it, I would have backed it with like gold, like glitter cardstock. Would have looked amazing. But again, you only see just a little bit of it, so I didn't bother with that. So anywho, die cut those backgrounds from the green cardstock, set that aside. And then I just grabbed a scrap of black cardstock, and I'm going to heat emboss one of the sentiments from that Postage Collage Lucky stamp set. And I use my anti-static powder tool on the cardstock, and then inking up the sentiment with clear embossing ink, stamping it, and then having to like kind of fiddle, move things around a little bit to be able to stamp it a second time, because again, this is just a random scrap in my stash. So got that stamped on there. I'm going to cover that with Simon's Gold embossing powder, tap off the excess. Then I'm going to melt this with my heat tool. And then once these sentiments are melted, I'm going to let them cool off for a few seconds and then remove that excess anti-static powder with my microfiber cloth. And then I will die cut these with a circle wafer die. So once I've got the anti-static powder, like excess, removed, I'm going to tape that little circle die into place, which is little bits of washi tape, and then run those through my die cut machine. And then for my card bases, they're going to be A2 white note cards, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm using the You and Me stamp set from Waffle Flower. I used this in a previous video I did for Waffle Flower, and I just like that there's all these like buildable phrases and whatnot. So I built up a phrase that says, "I feel so lucky to have you as a friend." So got that like lined up onto the what will be the inside of the card in my Misty here, and then I'm stamping that with that same intense black ink. So ink that up, stamp that. I'm going to do the same thing to the second card base, and then once I've got these stamped, I decided to use that little kind of 4-leaf clover image from the Postage Collage Lucky stamp set, and I just stuck it on an acrylic block, and then I'm just going to stamp them all around that sentiment with all those same inks. So I've got just a rainbow of those because once I started, I couldn't stop. I was going to add like one, and then I was like, wait a minute, what if I do rainbow on the inside too? Why not? Why not? So yeah, just worked my way around and stamped them with all of those different ink colors that I used for all of the blending. So worked my way around both of these sentiments on the insides of my cards. And then once I had those stamped, I, of course, am going to add baker's twine. It's for me especially, I don't know what it is. When I do anything rainbow, I immediately want to add like black and white accents to it. It just works. So I've got my black and white baker's twine. And I've done this on other ones with these Postage Collage. Because again, the holes in between, they're there. They're meant to be. So I just threaded the baker's twine through that and then wrapped it around a couple times just to give it that little extra something. And then, as always, reverse tweezers for the win. It just, especially when trying to tie bows and things like that. So start my knot, use my reverse tweezers to pinch that closed. And then I can sit and zhuzh and fiddle until I get the little bow the way I want it to. And then pull that tight, remove the tweezers, pull it tight again, trim off the excess, repeat on the second panel. And then on the back, I'm using just Simon's Big Mama foam tape. So this will pop it up a little bit, give it a little bit of lift and dimension, but not a whole lot of bulk. So I stuck that on the back. And then the backgrounds that I had die cut, I trimmed down to just slightly smaller than A2 sized. I think I took off like 1/8 of an inch, not much, just a little bit. And then I'm going to adhere these into place with craft tacky glue. So just kind of working my way around all the different little openings and then sticking those to the card bases and then peel off the backing, stick the postage backgrounds onto the card fronts. And then once I've got that into place, I had put foam tape on the back of the sentiment as well, so I could pop it up over the baker's twine. And then my last little embellishment, which is what inspired the colors, are the JJ's Rainbows Candy Dots from Waffle Flower. And these have a little bit of like shimmer to them as well. Like they're just pretty. So they're self-adhesive. So I just peel these off with my little wafer, like my die pick, and then stick them into place. So stuck them somewhat randomly onto both of these card fronts. I was like, didn't really want to cover anything up, but I still wanted them there because, they're shiny. So got those stuck into place. And then once I was happy with that finished off these cards. So like I mentioned in the intro, I will have links to all the things in the description box below the video. So if you expand it, I'll have a link to the blog post. I'll have all the visual links in that graphic that I talked about. All of that will be in the post linked directly below the video. So you guys can check that out if you're interested. And then at the end, I'll link to the playlist that has the other videos I've done using other sets from this collection. And then stay tuned because when the new ones come out, hopefully I'll get my hands on them and make more videos. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't. I would love to have you. And I will see you all very soon in the next video. Bye.